Hey yo, what's up and welcome. I'm the one and only West Coast King, and welcome to the next step. Yesterday's video, I asked you guys, what should we do? Should we continue the Minnesota United series or move on to something different? I appreciate all the support and the votes and everything and all the comments you guys left on that video. Try to help me decide what I want to do here. And I was on the fence about it. I mean, I was dead split 50-50. I mean, one day I'd think, okay, I'm going to start the next season with Minnesota. The next day, I was like, I need to move on to something fresh. So that is the main reason I asked you guys your opinion. And while it was helpful and insightful, pretty much you guys are dead split just like I am. 40% of you said to go one more season with Minnesota. That's nearly half, but 60% want to see something new. So that is what we're going to be doing. Fear not though, if you really want to see the Minnesota United career continue, I will be doing it via live stream, and then those will go up as videos on the channel. So Minnesota's not gone. They're going at least one more season, maybe even more than that. We'll have to see how it goes. And if you're waiting for the Rayo Vallecano series I was doing via Super Sim on live stream, that's going to be put on the back burner for a little bit while we finish off the Minnesota United career. So that's kind of how that whole side of thing is going. Now let's move on to what's coming next. In this video, we're going to decide what team we're going to be moving forward with for the next series on this channel. Originally, I had my mind set on one team, one series that I wanted to do, but after reading your comments from the last video from yesterday, I noticed that some of you want to see more of a Road to Glory series with a team in a lower division in Europe. Regardless though, we are going to Europe for this one, and I'm not moving an MLS team over to Europe. We might do that later on. Usually I do a League of the Americas series every FIFA where I take a bunch of teams from, you know, the MLS, Mexico, Chile, Argentina, Colombia, Brazil, and I move them all into France and make that the League of the Americas with just those teams. I don't know if I'm going to do that this year. Instead, I might just do one team and move them over from MLS into Europe somewhere. We'll have to see, but for now, we're just going to do a straight up European career. Now, if it's going to be a Road to Glory series, it's going to be in England. I haven't done a series in England since Plymouth Argyle, I guess, in FIFA. Was that FIFA 17? But that was very short-lived. The series got corrupted because of a glitch in the system. It wasn't the main series on the channel. The last true series I did in England with an English team is actually the first series I ever did, I think in FIFA 15 with Blackburn Rovers. So it's been a while, and that is why I want to do, if it's going to be a Road to Glory, I want to do it in England. Now, I personally have no preference on whether we start in the Championship, League 1, or League 2. However, the further down we start, the more simulations there's going to be involved in this series, especially early on, just because of the number of games that we have to play in England. It's like 50 to 60 games per season in League 1 and League 2 with all the domestic cups that they play in and the number of teams in each league. So there will be a lot of simulations, especially early on. So keep that in mind. If you're not too keen on simulating, then you probably don't want to, you're not going to want to vote for one of the lower league teams. So these are the three teams, one from each league, that I am looking at. Starting off in the Championship, I'm going to go with Fulham. I had Aston Villa and Derby high up on this list as well. However, Fulham does hold a special place in my heart. It's the first team that I truly felt a connection to anywhere in the world when I started watching the sport. And mostly it's because they do have a history of bringing Americans through that team. Clint Dempsey was there when I first started watching, and I just really have a connection to Fulham. So that is why Fulham is going to be my choice for a team here. Plus, with any Road to Glory, Youth Academy is very, very important. Their youth development is critical. Domestic success is high as well, which is the perfect situation to build a Youth Academy team. In League 1, it's a no-brainer. It's gonna be Plymouth Argyle. I mentioned them before. I've done a series with them in the past. Well, I tried to, and it didn't work out too well, through no fault of our own. I'd like to pick up where we left off and finish what we started with that team as well. Their board expectations are in line with a decent Road to Glory team that is based around the Youth Academy. Domestic success is medium, youth development medium, everything else low or very low. So it's a perfect team for a Road to Glory. In League 2, this one was a little bit more difficult just because most of the teams that have high or critical youth development expectations also have high or critical financial expectations, meaning that you can't do anything really other than a youth academy team. You have to build strictly through the youth academy. It's very difficult to buy players and bring them in. Luton Town is the one exception. They have low financial, low brand exposure, very low continental success, high domestic, high youth academy. Perfect for an RTG based around the youth academy, with still allowing us an option of buying players if we want to. So Luton Town is my choice coming out of League 2. So that is all of the Road to Glory teams. Now we're moving on to the other options. I have 2 other teams in mind. Both of these teams are not at the top of, of their respected leagues in their country, but they're very, very close. They just need something to push them over the top and try to rise above the giants that are currently in their league, and try to take domestic titles and into the Champions League and try to get European success and hardware as well. So starting out, the first team, I mentioned it in my Rayo Vallecano live stream. It's a team that I do support in real life. We're going to Germany, and it's going to be Dortmund. They have a lot of good players there, but they're very, very inconsistent. They fluctuate up and down in the table a lot throughout each and every season for like the last 3 or 4 years. They need some stability there. And from what I can tell by watching them, they have players there that are not fully behind the club, or not fully invested in Dortmund, and they see it more as a stepping stone to a bigger team, such as Ousmane Dembele, who just left for Barcelona. Aubameyang has been rumored to be leaving for years now. I don't feel like he's fully invested in the team. Players like that, I'm going to get rid of. Aubameyang will be gone, and I want players there that are going to be in support of the yellow and black. I want players that want to be at Dortmund and see that as a final destination, a place they want to be. Players like Marco Reus, who loves Dortmund and doesn't want to leave. Pulisic has said he has no intention of leaving Dortmund either. Obviously, I'm going to be keeping Pulisic regardless of who wants to buy him. That's my boy right there. He definitely will be staying. And I'm probably going to bring in some other Americans and maybe some MLS talents as well and build that team up from the ground up and cut the fat, cut the players that don't want to be there. So it's an interesting project, and it's a team I support. I would love to do a Dortmund career. For the last team on this list, it's a bit of an interesting one. Maybe a bit of a wild card, a bit of a curveball. You didn't see this one coming. We're going to Portugal, and it's going to be Sporting. The reason I wanted to do this one is I've always wanted to do a career mode in Portugal. It's a league that interests me, but I haven't really looked too much into it. And the reason I chose Sporting is because basically there are 3 teams in Portugal. We have Benfica, who have won the title there the last 4 years. There's Porto, who won the title there the 4 years before that. And then there's Sporting, who hasn't won a title since the 2001-2002 season, but have come in as runner-ups 6 times since then. So they are a big team in Portugal, but they're just missing the pieces and maybe the coach to get them over the top. And that's where we would come in. We'd get them back to the top of Portugal, rise above those giants of Benfica and Porto, back into Europe and back into the glory there as well. It's an interesting project to undertake, and it's a team and a situation that interests me greatly. So that is the final team on the list for a career mode option. So those are all of the teams that I'm looking at doing a series with right now. I won't be looking at any other teams, so don't leave any suggestions in the comments below on this one. Those are the 5 teams. I'm sorry if a team that you support or you wanted to see isn't in that list, but I feel like those are 5 unique and interesting options for a career mode series. In the future, I'll be looking at other teams and I'll be taking suggestions in other places. So if your team isn't on this list, I'm sorry, but maybe in the future, okay? So make sure you click on the poll in the top corner, vote for one of these teams, whether it's a Road to Glory team or one of the bigger teams. It's up to you guys. I'm down for any one of them. They all look like a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see what you guys choose. So until then, until the next video, thank you, I appreciate it, and I can't wait to start this next series. See ya.